إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الحديث هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن خير الأمور أوازمها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. As the Hajj season is upon us, we look back at a great sun. And this sun has contributed so much to our daily living. It's incredible. We never think about him. But today's khutbah will be about him, inshallah ta'ala. As we think about his legacy, his strength, and his leadership, and his amazing ability that the Prophet ﷺ had a direct hand in guiding him to the right way. And his father, let's speak a small bit about his father. His father was the enemy of Islam. In the beginning, he actually protected the Muslims when he took Shahada in Mecca. And also he went out to the area of Al-Aqaba and met with the Ansar, the 73 that came to give bay'ah to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of this was being done not because he loved Islam, not because he took Shahada, but because he wanted to protect his clan, the Banu Hashim. So to protect his family, he went out and did all of these favors for the Muslims. And of course, when the Battle of Badr came and then migration was done, he actually fought on the side of the Quraysh against the Muslims in the Battle of Badr. And when he was captured in the battle, it is mentioned that one of the Ansari men who captured him was a short man, very small, lean-looking man, and he captured him and he brought him to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "I've captured one of the leaders of the Quraysh," and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at him and he said, "That's my uncle, Ibn Abbas." And he said, "How did you capture him? He's so tall and big and stronger than you are." He said, "There was another man in the battlefield that helped me capture him." And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Surely it was an angel that helped you, because no one else could capture my uncle except someone who was much stronger than him." And the Prophet ﷺ, and again this story moves forward, and not until the conquest of Mecca, and not until the Battle of Tabuk and Hunayn, all of those things were happening, that Ibn Abbas came and helped the Muslims fight in the battles. But in the meanwhile, he has a son, his second son. His name is Abdullah ibn Abbas, and that is a great man. And today, if the youth are here, you should listen to this story and you should emulate him, because that is the whole point of this khutbah today, that you should listen to about who your heroes are, who your examples are, and who you should follow, and what kind of efforts did they make to be those great leaders that they were. So Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu is one of the four Abdullahs, and we know them famously because there are four that stood out among all of the companions, and all of them were teenagers. And it is mentioned that Ibn Abbas was only 3-4 years older than his nephew, the Prophet ﷺ. So you can imagine how old his son is. His son is very small. And the entire totality of life that Abdullah ibn Abbas spent with the Messenger ﷺ was only 13 years. That's when the Prophet ﷺ died. So in 13 years, he went under the shadow of this man, the greatest man that ever lived in the history of humanity, and he learned and absorbed everything he could possibly do. And not only that, he surpassed all of the other companions in this pursuit of knowledge and pursuit of following the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other three are Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, who was an amazing faqih. People went to him and his opinions are everywhere in a lot of subjects. And of course, his father is famous as well for being one of the great leaders, and not only that, a great faqih himself. And Abdullah ibn Abbas gathered over 1,600 hadith by himself. And this was passed on to all the generations of muhaddithin that came later on. And the other one is, of course, Abdullah ibn Zubair, who is the son of Asma bint Abu Bakr, the grandson of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. And the other one, Abdullah ibn Amr in Al-As, who is the son, of course, an amazing scholar by himself, but he is the son of Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. So these four Abdullahs pretty much ran the community in a very quiet, unassuming way. They were never given leadership positions, but they were among the people, and the people looked out for them, and people looked for them for opinions and all kinds of rulings. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them Jannah and the best of places. So Abdullah ibn Abbas one day was coming to a place where the Prophet ﷺ was going to pray near the masjid. So he noticed the Prophet ﷺ went to the bathroom, and he ran to get some water and put it by the wudu area for the Prophet ﷺ. So when the Prophet came out and he looked at the water jug and he looked at it and he said, "Man wada'a hadha?" Who put this here? He said. And the people said, "Well, it's Abdullah who put this water for you to make wudu from." And the Prophet ﷺ said, "Allahumma faqihu." Oh Allah, grant him knowledge. And there's few other narrations that said, Allah, give him knowledge in the Quran, give him hikmah. All of these things that the Prophet ﷺ used to make dua for this young man, who was a really young man, 5-6 years old. This is when the Prophet ﷺ is knowing this young man. And not only that, his mother, when he was born, Abdullah ibn Abbas, his mother came and she said, you should do tahniq, or the chewing of the dates and putting it into the saliva of the Messenger ﷺ in his mouth. So he started, before breastfeeding, this kind of blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very few people are fortunate like this, but this is what this young man got. So Abdullah, the cousin of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he understood like no other. He could memorize like no other. He could learn like what others could not. And he became the teacher of all of them, young and old, of the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim. And whenever he heard that a man had a hadith or a saying of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he'd go to his house. And there's one he narrates, he says, I went to a man looking for a hadith because I heard he said this, but I found him sleeping in the afternoon in his house, so I sat by his front door. I took my cloak off, I folded it behind my head, and I just stood there, and then I couldn't wait anymore. I sat down, and the dust blew in my face. And finally, when he woke up and he came out, he saw me sitting there, he said, why didn't you knock on the door? He goes, no, I didn't want to disturb you. So the mannerism of learning, the mannerism of seeking, the manner of the adab and akhlaq of Abdullah was amazing. And all of us need to understand that. Sometimes I tell my own children, don't come into our bedroom and knock before you come in. Sometimes the kids don't even have manners in the house. This is someone sitting outside knowing that someone is sleeping inside, and I cannot bother them, even though it was bothering him. And it is said that he would go to over 30 Sahaba to get proof of what he heard, to make sure he knew their opinions. So he never put something in his head until he knew all of the opinions. Then he would say, this is the true answer. So therefore, this is a person with proper adab and a proper study methodology. You know, sometimes our teachers tell us that if you don't have proper study methodology, you will never succeed. And that's something we all need to do. You can't read something on the internet one time and run off with it and say, that's information, and I will tell everyone. People don't do proper research. And here, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu is doing proper research, with whom? The companions who will not lie. Allahu Akbar. Think about this. It's a profound thing, but we take snippets from stuff and we run with it on the internet today. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth. So they would see him walking around, the companions. He would walk with tablets and he would be constantly writing something down. They said that we saw him constantly in the pursuit of knowledge. And no matter where he was, you would find him reading or reciting or memorizing or doing something related to the knowledge itself. And Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu used to invite him to his shura councils and said, give us an opinion about what you think about this. Sometimes an ayah of the Quran, he would say, give us the tafsir of this ayah. And of course, Abdullah ibn Abbas would give it to him, and then some of the Muhajirin became jealous and said, why is it that our sons are not counseled with you, Amir al-Mu'mineen? We have sons who are competent too. He said, but he does something that your children do not do. That he walks around to the elders of the community, he talks to them and listens to them, he takes their writings and he goes off and he learns from them. This is something, again, we should understand, that there are people among us who are older than us. And sometimes parents are very good sources of information and we don't listen to them. So the lessons I'm going to give from this is very simple, and it's for the young people, simple as that. And all of you young people understand what it is, and I've come across over the years many of you who are thinking so critically, so amazingly, and you think that you will change the world within a few days. But you don't have the wisdom, you don't have the experience, you do not have the perspective of the elders, so that's why you need to speak to them. Get their opinions and understand what they have lived. Their experiences mean something, not just the textbook knowledge that you have, but their experiences mean something, their wisdom means something. You should tap into the libraries of your mother and father that's up here and in their hearts and their experiences and ask them, what do I do? What do you think? And even if you don't agree with it, stay quiet and listen to it and put it in your notes and say, this is what the opinions are. You show them respect, you give them dignity, you give them honor, and you make them feel good about themselves and about you. So when you don't talk to them, when you stay away from them and you're locked up in your own world, in your own rooms and your own phones, you give no dignity to your mother and father or the elders of anyone else that you come across. So therefore, you need to be open-minded. And if you do that, everyone will love you. But if you stay away, everyone will say he is an aloof one. The one who we don't know what's going on in his world. We don't know if he's lost, if he's there, if he's there. We don't know. So therefore, you understand what I'm saying. And you cannot walk around and say that I will excel based on my own knowledge, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the knowledge. And He gives to whom He pleases, and He gives wisdom to whom He pleases. And that is an amazing thing. And it is amazing. There are times when you want to cry reading some of the ayahs of the Quran. He says, I'm the one who makes you laugh. I'm the one who makes you cry. I'm the one who gives you life, and I'm the one who gives you death. I'm the one who gives you comfort. I'm the one who takes it away. So therefore, everything we have in this world, everything about us, emotionally, physically, financially, belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And people who are away from that, who don't think about that, have lost the religion, really. They're not in part of the ummah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who controls all things. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, it is critical to think and critical to take notes, and that's why the first word in the Quran is Iqra. It is critical, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches what we do not know. He says that. And He says, عَلَّمَ الْإِنسَانَ مَا لَمْ يَعْلَمْ. I taught him what he does not know. Therefore, you should act like I don't know anything. And Allah knows best. That's why you say, Allahu ta'ala alam. In everything. Even the scholars of Islam, even the great muhaddithin, even the great mufassirin, they say, Allahu ta'ala alam. Even the Sahaba said it. And even the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he didn't know anything, he didn't say anything. Stayed quiet until the wahi came to tell him, this is what you need to tell them. So therefore, we have an example of an amazing scholar and an amazing young man that we should follow. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, the son of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, many incidences would say when people came for fiqh questions, he said, go see Abdullah ibn Abbas first. Whatever he tells you, take it, and if he doesn't say anything, then come back to me. So even among them, they had respect among them. There was no jealousy among them in terms of knowledge. And Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu, one of the 10 guaranteed Jannah, he said about Abdullah ibn Abbas, I do not see anyone smarter than him. I do not see anyone more knowledgeable than him. And he is so patient with the people. And he, Abdullah ibn Abbas, is being called by the Amir al-Mu'mineen for decisions for the entire ummah. This is the companion going to Jannah seeing about this young man. He said he knows so much. And while Umar bin Khattab has the veterans of Al-Badr with him, the Muhajirin and the Ansar, he reaches to a young man, he takes his opinion. And the young man didn't come and say, let me give you my opinion. The young man was seen to be qualified. And that's why the young people should understand that you need to study hard. You need to go above and beyond. When you achieve great things, it is because it's not an accident. It is not because of arrogance. It is because people will call upon you. And no man who is rushed through his knowledge will be called to give opinion, except the one who's sound of mind and opinion and wisdom. So therefore, we need to study and understand the deen. Be careful whom you learn from. Be careful what you learn. And always check to see if there are many other opinions besides the one you hear and say, I'm running with this. And damn be the guy who told me this thing. It's his information, therefore I don't care. Well, Allah will question you if you with that attitude. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us open-minded. And the Prophet and the companions knew about him as being one of the great mufassirin himself. You cannot pick up any book of tafsir. Look at any surah that there's a tafsir on, an ayah, critical ayahs. You will find Ibn Abbas' statements on it. And you will also find the mufassirin also mentioning that Ibn Abbas understood this better than us, even though we had more resources later on with all of the Sahih Hadith they collected. He knew better than them. He said his opinion, it's amazing he had it correct from the beginning. And many times they would come and say, why was this ayah brought down? He would give you the asbab and nusul. He would actually give you the purpose of its creation and why Allah sent it down. He knew which one was in Mecca, he knew which one was in Medina. He knew all of those things. He knew who was being addressed by the ayah. This is Abdullah ibn Abbas. And at the time of death, and I will close the first half of this, that when his father Ibn Abbas died, he was about 85 years old, And when he passed away, it is mentioned that a Bedouin came to him from the desert, didn't have much knowledge. So even in death, Abdullah ibn Abbas is learning knowledge. So the Bedouin looked at him crying and he said, you should have sabr. Sabr is more important to you than your father. And he said, Al-Abbas, Allah is more better for him than you. So therefore, when he died, you don't need each other. That is an amazing wisdom if you think about it. The people who leave us, Allah is better for them, and the people who stay behind should have more patience. And that is أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. So how does a young boy who does not even know that he's putting a pot of water for the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to make wudu from know that his future is going to be so bright, that he will be among the people shining above all of them? How does he know all of this? He doesn't know any of this stuff. He doesn't gloat on it. He doesn't do anything like that. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam helped him really ascend very high in status among the people, only because of a simple thing, which is to make something easy for the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now I will appeal to all of us, and including myself. And many times there are times you feel selfish. Selfish because you served yourself first before you served your parents. You served yourself before some other innocent thing or somebody who's not able to help themselves. Many times we look after ourselves first, then someone else later, with whatever is left over. But never do that. Always serve them first, and when they are relaxed and ready to move in their life, then you get yourself the food you need, the drink you need, and the relaxation that you need. Do it afterwards. And you will see how much contentment will come to you. You will see how much Allah will elevate your status and put barakah in your earnings, in your business, in your knowledge, in your sleep, in your health, everything. When you think about others, and that is the whole point of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling us that Iman, the lowest amount of Iman, is to remove a thorn from the path so no one can get hurt. Why is that? Because that is something that will harm someone. And if you remove that harm, you have Iman. And that is the least of Iman. What about the ones that are in your home? What about your mothers and fathers? What about the ones who are crippled? What about the ones who don't have the ability to be fed and clothed and cleaned? You should take care of them first. Give them when you have it. Give them the health when you have the health and they don't have it. Give them the sanity that you have when they don't have it. Give them the cleanliness that they don't have that you have. You need to do these things. And sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes it's very difficult to take care of the elderly, the handicapped, and all of that. It's very difficult. But there is such a joy. There are times when you give to the poor and you feel horrible that you eat yourself and they go hungry. All of these small things, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, will bring you dua. And all they can give you back is dua. And dua is what elevates you. It's not your dua. It's not your desiring from Allah. It is what they desire for you from Allah. Isn't that amazing? You're winning because of someone else. And that is an amazing thing. So sometimes your progress, your success is based on a cold glass of water that you hand to someone. Nothing more, nothing less. So therefore, to have that kind of heart, to have that kind of understanding in Islam is when you have Iman in your heart. And you have a khushu of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you will stand in front of Him. And Allah will give you on that day, when you give water to someone, He will give you the drink on that day, cool and refreshing. He will give you the shade that you gave to someone else. He'll give you the coolness that you provided someone else. He'll give you the blanket that you need when you're cold, that you gave to someone else. He'll give the pillow to you. He'll give all of these things to you when you give that to someone else. Selfishness must leave our hearts, and arrogance must leave our hearts in order for us to succeed. You will not gain knowledge and wisdom unless these things are out of our houses, in our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to it. And I'm going to cut it here, inshallah. There is a funeral prayer taking place today. The only thing I can say is that Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu has many opinions about a lot of these matters. So the way the Salatul Janazah will be done, inshallah ta'ala, will be 4 takbirat. The first takbirat, you raise your hands, and it's sunnah, and it's from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You raise your hands on every takbirat. and you tie your hands after every takbirat. This is from the sunnah of the Messenger. All of the Sahaba agree to it. It was only the opinions later on that they would go against this. So therefore, it is sunnah from the Messenger ﷺ to recite Al-Fatiha in the first rak'ah, and to recite durood in the second, which is Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad, in the second takbir. In the third takbir, you make dua for the deceased. There's a lot of duas for it. You can make a lot of them, inshallah. I'll give you some of them. But again, you don't have to say all of them to make it valid. And the last one, you make dua for yourself and your loved ones who have passed away. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from all of us. Simple thing. For those who don't know all of the duas, you just say, Allahumma gfir li hayyina wa mayyitina wa shahidina wa ghaibina wa saghirina wa kabirina wa zakarina wa unthana. Allahumma man ahyaytahu minna fa ahyihi ala al-Islam wa man tawaffaytahu minna fa tawaffahu ala al-Iman. If you don't know that, Allahumma gfir lahu, Allahumma gfir lahu, Allahumma gfir lahu, Allahumma warhamhu. All of these things can be said, and you can also mention the other one, which is Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. All of those things can be said, inshallah ta'ala, for this deceased. And of course, there's also وَنَقِنِ مِنْ قَطَايَا, the one with the cleaning of the clothes, as all the sin should be removed from the deceased. نَقِنِ مِنْ قَطَايَا كَمَا يُنَقَّ الثَّوْبَ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الدَّنَسِ. As if you remove all the stains from a white cloth, you remove the sins from this person who has passed away. May Allah make it so. Inshallah, with that we begin the salah. قال سبحانه وتعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى سائر الصحابة والتابعين اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات. Ya Rab, accept our salah, accept our dua, and make the deceased, Ya Allah, comfortable in his grave, and give him wide, spacious and night in the grave, Ya Rab, and raise him up on the day of judgment on Bismillah, and calling you out to you, Ya Rab, and give him shade on the day of judgment, Ya Rab, and give him the coolness of what he has recited and memorized of the Quran, Ya Rab, and Ya Rab, grant him Jannah after the decision, Ya Rab. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of us, may He give our books in our right hands. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us everything that we want for in this dunya, and with the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in heart all the time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us successful fi dunya wal akhirah, and grant us all of the best things here and in the hereafter. Wa aqimu as-salah inna as-salata tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah. هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
La ilaha illallah. Please refrain from praying sunnah and nafil after the salah, because the sanat al-janazah will begin right afterwards, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from all of us. One other important announcement that I was told to do when I forgot, which is that Eid Salah will be next Friday morning. I believe 8 o'clock is the first one. 6:30 is the first one, 6:30, 8 o'clock, and then 9:30. So 6:30, 8 o'clock, and 9:30. Jazakallah khair. سووا صفوفكم يرحمني ويرحمكم الله إن تسوية الصفوف من تمام الصلاة. الله أكبر. استغفر الله بسم الله. الشيطان الرجيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. فلا أقسم بمواقع النجوم وإنه لقسم لو تعلمون عظيم. إنه لقرآن كريم في كتاب مكنون لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. تنزيل من رب العالمين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. استغفر الله. استغفر الله. Brother Waqas. This is Brother Waqas Chaudhry. His father is Abdul Rashid Chaudhry, and inshallah we'll make dua. His name is Abdul Rashid Chaudhry, inshallah. He'll be. One announcement.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. One more announcement. Sister Shahida Motiwala, her mother passed away 2 days ago in India. She's a very well-known person here. She runs a Friday school and she's been here in this masjid for many, many long years. May Allah grant her in Jannatul Firdaus, her mother, and give the patients, the family, the Sabri Jameel, inshallah. As you all know, these are the best 10 days are going through. So please try to do as much as good deed as possible up until 10th Zil Hijjah, the 10th day. These are the best days in the whole year, inshallah. So try to do as much as good deeds as possible. And there will be a freezer when the Ikna will be relieved. Ikna relief freezer will be here after the Eid day. It will be there for 4 days and you can put your meat for the Qurbani, inshallah. So there will be deep freezer here inshallah, brothers.
Bismillah. Brother, I know the Sunnah always ask the son of the deceased, if there's anything here that my father would any money to, and then first, please let me know now. Jazakallah khair, I know a lot of people came from far away. Thank you everyone for coming here. Allah. Allah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. For the family members and close friends who want to view the body, please stop outside in the parking lot. Jazakallah.